quiet corners of California, where the fog whispers secrets to those who dare listen, there emerged a tale so sinister it would etch itself into the annals of true crime forever. Welcome to a journey through the shadowy realm of the Zodiac Killer, a mastermind of malice who held a city's heartbeat in the grip of his cryptic threats. The late 1960s to the shroud of the present, the Zodiac Killer's legacy is a tapestry woven with threads of fear, fascination, and the unquenchable thirst for answers. With each cipher, each taunting letter, he challenged the world to peer into the abyss and decipher his twisted riddles. But who was he? A specter? A mere mortal cloaked in the guise of a monster? Or a riddle that defies unraveling? The self-proclaimed Zodiac Killer has an undeniable connection to a string of at least 5 homicides that transpired in Northern California during the years 1968 and 1969. Astonishingly, 2 other individuals managed to survive the vicious assaults, even though they suffered severe injuries. Maybe he was actually responsible for more murders. He teased the police and made threats in letters sent to local newspapers from 1969 to 1974, before suddenly cutting off communication. In those haunting letters, he boldly confessed to ending the lives of as many as 37 innocent souls. Despite tireless efforts to uncover the truth and countless theories swirling around the enigma of the killer's identity, the perpetrator managed to elude capture. The case remains an unsolved mystery, leaving investigators perplexed and the door of justice wide open. Dive into the realm of murder mysteries that have captivated audiences for years. Countless books and movies have delved into the perplexing web of these crimes, with one notable mention being director David Fincher's highly acclaimed 2007 film Zodiac. August the 1st, 1969, a day that would forever be etched in the history of San Francisco. On that fateful day, the San Francisco Examiner, San Francisco Chronicle, and Vallejo Times-Herald were all thrown into a whirlwind of curiosity. Each of these esteemed publications received a mysterious letter, written by hand and enclosed in an envelope. The catch? There was no return address to be seen. Beginning.
Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers last Christmas at Lake Herman.
Concealed within those letters were intricate details of the Zodiac Killer's murderous spree, information that only the perpetrator could possess. In a spine-chilling display, the killer proceeded to issue menacing ultimatums, warning of further assaults unless the letters were published on the front page of the newspapers. The letters penned by the notorious Zodiac Killer were marked with a chilling symbol, a circle with a cross etched through it. This sinister emblem would later become synonymous with the reign of terror inflicted by this unidentified murderer. Adding to the mystery, each letter concealed a portion of a 3-part cipher, which the killer claimed held the key to his very identity. With the assistance of the FBI, Bay Area police departments, were tirelessly working to locate the killer when yet another letter appeared at the San Francisco Examiner.
Dear editor, this is the Zodiac speaking.
The killings were outlined in great detail, with the perpetrator mocking law enforcement for their inability to decipher his code or apprehend him. It took Donald Hardin, a high school teacher, and his wife Betty a few days, but they finally cracked the cipher.
I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest. Because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die I will be reborn in paradise, and all the I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife.
Merely 3 days had passed since the fourth chilling Zodiac killing, which occurred in 1969, and it involved the murder of taxi driver Paul Stine. It was during this time that the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter boldly claiming responsibility for the gruesome crime. The details of Stine's murder were outlined in a letter with the same erratic print as the Zodiac's previous communications, along with a bloody fragment of Stine's shirt. With a bone-chilling conclusion, the letter ended with the killer's disturbing reflection on his next target, a school bus, its tire destined to be pierced by his deadly shot, and
pick off the kitties as they come bouncing out.
The Zodiac killer maintained his pattern of sending mocking messages to the Bay Area newspapers, including new ciphers, confessing to more murders and ridiculing the police for their inability to apprehend him. Despite the letters abruptly ceasing in 1974, the investigation has persevered and remains ongoing to this very day. 4 separate attacks have been definitively traced back to the Zodiac killer, with 7 individuals involved in the crimes. December the 20th, 1968, forever etched in the memories of Vallejo, California. It was on that fateful night when darkness descended upon Lake Herman Road, casting a shadow over the lives of 2 young souls. David Faraday, a 17-year-old, and his girlfriend, Betty Lou Jensen, age 16, tragically lost their lives in a heart-wrenching incident. In a chilling moment, the Zodiac killer silently closed in on them, brandishing a .22 caliber semi-automatic pistol. The young couple, paralyzed by fear, met their untimely demise as a storm of gunfire engulfed them. This was the first confirmed incident, a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the beginning of a harrowing chapter in the community's history. Authorities were perplexed, unable to establish the motive behind the crime or identify a suspect. In Vallejo's Blue Rock Springs Park, Darlene Theron, 22, and Michael McGough, 19, chose a secluded parking lot for a chat. A car pulled up by the driver's side, its occupant watching them briefly before leaving. The car came back minutes later, parking by the passenger's side. Tragically, the shooter fired 5 shots through the window, with only McGough surviving. Within 60 minutes of the incident, a man phoned the Vallejo Police Department, revealing the whereabouts of the crime scene. He also admitted to carrying out the recent attack and the 1968 murders of Faraday and Jensen. In spite of a compelling array of evidence comprising fingerprints, Magot's meticulous description, a deciphered cipher, and an influx of valuable tips and leads, the Zodiac killer proved to be an elusive figure, successfully evading capture by the police. In the evening of September the 27th, 1969, he struck once more, making his way towards the young couple, Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell, as they enjoyed a peaceful moment on a secluded area of Lake Berryessa shore in Napa County. While sitting on a blanket by Lake Berryessa, Cecilia Shepard, 22, and her ex-boyfriend, Brian Hartnell, 20, were taken by surprise when a man in a hooded costume emerged from the bushes. Clad in a hood and a shirt marked with a Circle Cross logo, he restrained them before brutally stabbing, leaving a note for the police on their car door and making a quick getaway. Following that, he contacted the Napa Police Department to confess his responsibility. Emergency services swiftly arrived to find Shepard and Hartnell in critical condition, but astonishingly still breathing. Regrettably, Shepard's wounds proved fatal, and she tragically succumbed to them shortly after. October the 11th, 1969, marked the day when Paul Stein, a 29-year-old taxi driver, was fulfilling his late-night shift. A man held him on Geary Street in San Francisco, leading to a ride to Presidio Heights. Tragically, during this journey, he was fatally shot with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol. Initially thought to be unrelated to the Zodiac's usual crimes, the murder was dismissed as robbery. That is, until a letter arrived at the San Francisco Chronicle confessing to the crime and turning the investigation on its head. The Chronicle received a piece of Stein's shirt from the killer, along with a letter claiming the murder. The San Francisco Police Department has in its possession the blood-splattered door of the taxi, which is linked to the Zodiac killer case. Unveiling the true extent of the Zodiac killer's rampage has been a daunting task for investigators. While the public is familiar with some of the murders attributed to this obscure figure, there are at least 5 other killings that have been tentatively linked to the Zodiac killer. One such case involves the 1963 shooting of Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards near Santa Barbara, California. The murders of Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards, also known as the Gaviota Beach murders, occurred on June 4th, 1963. The couple, who were high school sweethearts, decided to spend their senior ditch day at a secluded spot on Gaviota Beach near Santa Barbara, California. Robert Domingos was 18 years old and Linda Edwards was 17 years old. They were both students at Lompoc High School and were planning to get married. On that fateful day, Robert parked his car in a turnout off Highway 101 and they hiked down to the shore. At some point, they were confronted by a man armed with a .22 caliber weapon. The assailant apparently ordered Linda to tie up Robert's hands with pre-cut lengths of rope. However, Robert managed to free himself and they attempted to escape but were shot in the back. Robert was shot 11 times and Linda 8 times. Their bodies were then dragged to a makeshift shack where the killer attempted to set fire to the scene, but the fire went out. The case shocked the community and prompted a thorough investigation. Despite recovering evidence such as burned matches, shell casings, and the rope, the case remained unsolved. This theory was further fueled when San Francisco Police Department Inspector William Armstrong contacted Detective Bill Baker of the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department, suggesting the Zodiac may have been responsible for the deaths of Domingos and Edwards. Additionally, the 1966 stabbing death of college student Sherry Jo Bates in Riverside, California. The morning of October the 30th, 1966 started like any other for Sherry Jo Bates as she attended Sunday Mass with her father before heading to the college library to delve into her studies and research paper. Little did she know that her day would end in tragedy. Her murderer cunningly disabled her car, leading her away from the safety of the library. The killer then launched a vicious attack on her with a knife, fatally severing her jugular vein. Her lifeless body was discovered the next morning by a campus groundskeeper. The motive behind this horrific crime remains a mystery, as her clothes were undisturbed and her purse was found near her body. Thanks to eyewitness testimonies recounting a man leaving the site of Paul Stein's 1969 homicide, authorities were able to develop and circulate a composite sketch of the perpetrator. Despite the increasing evidence and the investigation of numerous suspects, the Zodiac killer continued to elude capture. More than half a century has elapsed since the Faraday-Jensen murders, and astonishingly, not a single suspect has ever been apprehended. The persistent inability to unveil the true identity of the Zodiac killer has left law enforcement officers deeply vexed. The mystery of the Zodiac case remains a source of fascination for the public, giving rise to a multitude of theories about the killer's true identity. From the realm of possibility to the realm of pure fantasy, a multitude of theories swirl around this mysterious individual. Some argue that he was the notorious Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, while others insist he was the convicted murderer Charles Manson. Incredibly, there are even those who propose that he relocated to Scotland, where he continued his spree of killings before ultimately discovering happiness and renouncing his malevolent path. These are just a few examples among the myriad of theories that have captivated the public's imagination. Other theories that should be considered are renowned true crime writer and ex-San Francisco Chronicle cartoonist Robert Graysmith delved into the mystery of the Zodiac killer in his books. He strongly believed that author Lee Allen was the man behind the crimes, but Allen's death in 1992 left the case unsolved. Prepare to be captivated by the mind-boggling tale presented in Gary L. Stewart's book, The Most Dangerous Animal of All. Released by HarperCollins in 2014, Stewart's gripping account revolves around his father, Earl Van Best Jr., who bears an uncanny resemblance to the ambiguous figure portrayed in the police sketch. According to Stewart, his father was none other than the elusive Zodiac killer, shedding new light on this complicated mystery. The year 2014 brought forth yet another revelation, adding another layer of intrigue to the mystifying puzzle. A man bravely came forward, sharing that his friend, Louis Myers, had confessed to being the elusive killer before passing away in 2002. Remarkably, certain events from Myers' past seem to intertwine with the enigmatic Zodiac's sinister deeds. Nevertheless, similar to the cases of Allen and Van Best, the absence of irrefutable evidence left lingering doubts. The 2023 Peacock docuseries Myth of the Zodiac Killer suggests a new perspective on the infamous case, proposing that the killings could have been the work of multiple individuals. Director Andrew Knock shared with the New York Post. It's quite uncommon to have such detailed information on cold cases, yet upon examining the police records, it becomes apparent that there are minimal links between these incidences. Knock highlighted the differences in weapons, modus operandi, victim characteristics, eyewitness reports, crime locations, and the absence of a consistent trophy taken from each crime scene. In 2020, amateur sleuths cracked the Zodiac Killer's code after over 5 decades. Faced with an intriguing challenge, a dynamic trio of codebreakers consisting of David Oranchek, Sam Blake, and Gerald Van Eyck banded together to tackle the task at hand. Armed with the state-of-the-art software, they embarked on an extensive exploration of various reading directions that held the key to unlocking the transpositional cipher. Their perseverance and ingenuity paid off as they triumphantly cracked the complex 340-character code, finally unveiling the hidden message it concealed.
I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner. Because I now have enough slaves to work for me where everyone else has nothing. When they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life will be an easy one in paradise. Death.
In October 2021, a remarkable group of 40 seasoned law enforcement investigators, known as the Casebreakers, have made a stunning revelation. They confidently assert that they have finally unmasked the infamous Zodiac Killer. Their extensive research and analysis have led them to believe that Gary Francis Post, who sadly passed away in 2018, was the mastermind behind these chilling murders. An intriguing report by USA Today reveals that the credibility of this statement was heavily based on DNA evidence collected from the crime scene, where Sherry Jo Bates was brutally killed in 1966. The incident occurred at Riverside City College in California. Moreover, the Casebreakers asserted that Post had a matching shoe size and similar forehead scars to the Zodiac Killer, and that the letters sent to the press featured anagrams of his name. Even so, the police are unwavering in their position that Bates is not an established victim of the Zodiac killer, suggesting that Post was not a person of interest. Transporting us to the year 2022, author Jarrett Kobach embarked on a riveting quest to uncover the truth behind the Zodiac killer. His meticulously researched book, How to Find Zodiac, took readers on a thrilling ride through the dark alleys of this unsolved mystery. In a bold hypothesis, Kobach revealed the identity of the killer as Paul Dorr, a man hailing from the vibrant San Francisco Bay Area. Although Dorr met his demise in 2007, his connection to the chilling crimes continues to send shivers down our spines. He uncovered that both Dorr and the Zodiac had a penchant for making homemade bombs, particularly using ammonium nitrate and fertilizer in their writings. In addition to having a similar physical appearance to the suspected killer, Dorr was employed at a shipyard in Vallejo at the time of the murders. The final two messages of the Zodiac killer have reportedly been cracked by Fakal Zuarli, an engineer with a passion for code breaking. Of particular interest is the Z13 cipher, a concise message comprising of only 13 characters. The solution to the puzzle reads,
My name is Care.
which he said is likely a typo for K. This solution suggests that Care could be the reference to a suspect in the case, potentially linked to the name Lawrence Kane. However, due to the shortness of the cipher, it is difficult to confirm the accuracy of this solution without additional corroborating evidence. Born on April the 29th, 1924 in Brooklyn, New York, Lawrence Klein was known to go by different names, with Larry Kane being one of his aliases. Since the 1940s, Kane had been accumulating quite the extensive criminal rap sheet. It was a record that showcased his knack for trouble and his ability to stay one step ahead of authorities. Startling claims have emerged from Pam Huckabee, the sister of the Zodiac victim, Darlene Ferrin, suggesting that Kane had been shadowing Darlene in the months leading up to her tragic murder. Furthermore, Kathleen Johns, who had a harrowing encounter with the Zodiac, has positively identified Kane as the person responsible for her abduction. Kathleen Johns was a 22-year-old woman driving from San Bernardino to Petaluma to visit her mother. She was traveling with her infant daughter and was 7 months pregnant at the time, making her understandably nervous. Around 11:15 p.m., a vehicle pulled up beside her, and the man behind the wheel signaled for her to pull over. He informed her that her left rear wheel appeared loose and offered to tighten it for her. However, instead of tightening the nuts, he loosened them. When she attempted to drive away, the wheel fell off completely. The stranger then offered her a ride to a service station, which she accepted. But once he had Johns and her baby in his car, it became clear that he had other plans. The man began driving at full speed, refusing to slow down and threatening to kill them. Johns managed to escape and found help. At the police station, John spotted the Zodiac wanted poster and identified him as being responsible for the abduction. During the peak of the Zodiac's activity in 1969, Kane, who was 45 years old, stood at 5'9" and weighed around 160 pounds. His astrological sign was Taurus. As a result of massive brain damage from a 1962 auto accident, Kane was allegedly diagnosed by a psychologist in 1965 as losing the ability to control self-gratification. In August 1968, Kane found himself arrested in Redwood City, California. Interestingly, this arrest took place just 4 months before the chilling Zodiac began his spree of murders in the San Francisco Bay Area on December the 20th, 1968. Kane died on May the 20th, 2010 in Reno, Nevada. However, it is important to note that there is no definitive evidence connecting Kane to the Zodiac murders, and he was never prosecuted for any crimes associated with the case. The Zodiac killer case remains a captivating enigma, ranking among the most puzzling unsolved serial murder cases in American history. Despite the presence of numerous suspects, the case still lacks conclusive answers. At this moment, the Z13 cipher remains a puzzling and mysterious communication. Despite partial decryption, its concise nature presents difficulties in fully comprehending its message. With just 13 characters unveiled, deriving a definitive explanation is no easy task. Specialists are dedicated to scrutinizing this code, seeking to reveal more about the elusive Zodiac killer. The endeavor to decode the Z13 cipher entirely is ongoing, leaving its significance cloaked in mystery. The case has been marked inactive by the San Francisco Police Department since 2004. But it was reopened prior to 2007 and remains open in other jurisdictions. The California Department of Justice has maintained an open case file on the Zodiac murders since 1969. The mystery of the Zodiac killer's identity continues to captivate the public and law enforcement alike. As we delve into the chilling chronicles of the Zodiac killer, we find ourselves at the crossroads of terror and intrigue. The cryptic ciphers, the blood-stained letters, and the haunting crimes. Each piece of this macabre puzzle draws us deeper into the abyss of the unknown. But perhaps therein lies the true horror, the enigma that defies resolution, the faceless phantom who slipped through the cracks of justice. As the shadows lengthen and the ink fades on this script, remember that the Zodiac killer remains a specter in the annals of true crime. His identity, like the elusive wind, eludes our grasp. Was he a deranged genius, a malevolent artist, or merely a cipher himself? We may never know, but one thing is certain. The echoes of his deeds reverberate across time, a chilling reminder that darkness can wear a human guise. So, my fellow sleuths, keep your eyes peeled, your mind sharp, and your curiosity burning. For the Zodiac killer may rest in obscurity, but his legacy endures. An enigma etched in blood, waiting for the next codebreaker to step forward and unravel the riddles of the abyss. The Zodiac shadow lingers, and the hunt continues.